Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you may be at your current point in the day. Welcome back to the Crash the Pond podcast.
Welcome home. Come into our home where you can look out the window, and we might be on a farm this time. You can see some cows out there, mooing all about, just having a good time, gay old time out there, just mooing.
I'm curious how many possible bits we can layer into the intro.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I I,
becoming a new challenge, I
I
think.
was trying to figure out a way to work moo in there, and that was the best way I came up with. So
Now, maybe we'll get a group moo in at the end. We'll see.
okay, this is just you got to be in our Discord to understand. Even if you're in our Discord, you might not understand.
That's actually very possible. We have
Yeah.
we have people who have actually said that they don't understand. So it's okay. Don't need to
Yep.
understand.
Yep.
If you can't tell, not much has really happened in the Ducks world in the last week. As we kind of waffle here, the Ducks just keep on losing. They've allowed 12
Sorry.
goals in their last, actually no, 19 goals in their last 4 games against, and things are not going so great right now.
Nope. This is probably one of the worst stretches of the season they've had.
Yeah.
Like, without any doubts about it. Like, they aren't playing well. They aren't getting good goaltending. They aren't getting good offensive looks. Guys are getting hurt. Really, the biggest like positive to come out of this past little week was Leo Carlson coming back and looking fantastic. But outside of that, this was the first time all season where I was like, I zoned out for a lot of these games, and it was dreadful hockey basically in these games. You can see the lack of offensive talent with the amount of injuries they've had this season, and it really reared its ugly head on this trip.
Wow, interesting. You narrowed it down to offensive talent. That's an optimistic way of looking at things.
Well, I meant offensive just from the entire team of creating offense.
Because when you're allowing almost 20 goals in
Well,
a week, I'm not sure there's a lot of defensive talent going on either.
yeah, they also didn't they get shut out in 2 straight games, or what was
Yep.
it? Yeah.
Yep.
So you can look at both sides of it. Not great.
Not much is going right, but at least I think one bit of good news is that Trevor Zegras should be back soon.
Yes.
If all goes according to plan, he might play Tuesday against Chicago.
That's what I was gonna wonder. I was kind of out of it today, just with Twitter and things like that. Did anything come out? Was there practice today? I don't think I saw Derek
No.
had tweeted anything. So
He didn't
it may have
skate
been
today.
okay. So maybe a bit of an unknown. I mean, by all accounts, Zegras has been skating on his own. Has not. I don't think he's joined the team for a full practice as of yet.
No, he didn't.
So
He didn't travel on the recent road trip.
Correct,
He was
correct.
skating all of last week though.
correct. Skating all of last week at Great Park with the Ducks skating group or skating coaches. But I would imagine probably unlikely that he plays tomorrow. Would be my bet. I don't
Really?
think he would be playing tomorrow if that's his first full practice back. I feel like they're probably going to want to have a couple practices with him prior to getting him into the game. So I would say probably Thursday would be a bit more likely than Tuesday.
Well, they also sent down Regenda today, and I don't know if that has
That one's
any-
easy. That one's easy. That one's easy.
Okay. Enlighten us.
I think it was probably Ben Myers. I think Ben Myers might have gotten hurt. So Regenda, for anyone that didn't know, was on an emergency recall. And the purpose or the way an emergency recall works for anyone out there that does not know is you can only play if the team has less than 12 skaters. If the team has 12 skaters, you cannot play in that game because you are up on emergency basis. The reason for doing this right now is you are allowed only 4 non-emergency recalls for the rest of the season for the Ducks, and they've burned one on Olin Zellweger already. So they probably did not want to burn one on Pavel Regenda, so he was used on emergency recall as guys were getting hurt. He did play in the game against St. Louis where the Ducks had 12 forwards. The person that came out was Ben Myers. So the logical conclusion to make there is that Ben Myers must have gotten hurt in the game against Winnipeg on Friday or was not healthy enough to play. So it was not a healthy scratch, a coaching decision by that margin, but was not in a good enough spot to play. So it's possible whether it's a Mason McTavish, whether it's a Ben Myers, one of the forwards is potentially going to come back, and that's why Pavel Regenda was sent down because he can only play if they are under 12 forwards.
Yeah. So Trevor Zegras could still come back tomorrow.
True.
Is what you're saying.
Fair. but I would say that's probably less likely than the other options.
Yeah, well, we will hope for that because Lord knows this team could use some entertainment value as of right now. So today on the show, what we're going to do, the Ducks have, I think, we'll call it 15-ish games left in the season. We're going to look at the three things that are the most interesting to us and maybe hopefully to some of you that you can draw some inspiration from down the stretch here that we're going to be following, that we're going to be tracking, that will hopefully be somewhat consequential for next season. So just things to really keep an eye on. So we each have three. We're going to get through them hopefully in an orderly fashion. We'll just go back and forth. And we will start with Jake. Your first item.
Ooh, I get the first one. So I don't know the amount of games off the top of my head, but it really probably cannot be that much with the amount of games that we had both Zegras and Karlsson in the lineup together. And so one of my things is, how does the offense look with both those guys in the lineup? It's only going to be maybe 14 games max if Zegras does come back. But how does the offense look? How does the overall team gel? Because we saw early on, before Trevor Zegras had to leave early on in the season due to the undisclosed injury still, but those two seemed to work together at various points in time, and they had games like, there's one that comes to mind, the Arizona game, the game in Arizona early in the season, where the Zegras, Karlsson, Terry line was just utterly dominant. I don't know if I've seen that dominant of a performance from an offensive line and not get rewarded in a long, long time, just with how many chances they got, how it felt like every time they were on the ice, they kept getting looks. And so how does that happen? Does Zegras play with Karlsson when he comes back into the lineup? Because outside of those 12 games, in the 8 that Zegras came back, Karlsson was not healthy for. So, and I believe, the first 2, Karlsson wasn't healthy for. So out of the amount of games that they've had this season, only 10 have had both Zegras and Karlsson in the lineup together.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, like that. Like, just when you think about it, I feel like if you want to look at the season in a whole and just summarize it, I feel like that almost in a nutshell does it. That they've just been so downtrodden with injuries that your two of your top offensive talents, you've had 10 games with both of them healthy.
Yeah, and it's not just the injuries, like the volume of injuries, it's who is getting injured. It's literally always someone in the top 6. Yeah. And usually a young talent that's getting injured. And so it's a lot easier to withstand an injury in the bottom 6 than the top 6 for this team, because like you were talking about off the top, the offensive talent and output, especially in the last week with some of the injuries, has just been like as bad as it's ever been, maybe. And that's not really anybody's fault. It's just injuries and guys playing up, higher up in the lineup than they should be. So,
yep.
Okay. So I will then piggyback off of yours. And I think that the thing that I will be looking for, hopefully starting Tuesday, whenever that will be, is how the Ducks will use Trevor Zegras when he returns. So watching some of his skating last week, they had him doing a lot of drills where he was working the puck off of the end boards on the right side of the ice, which would be his off wing. There was a lot of shots taken coming down the right wing where he had to, change the angle of the shot against an obstacle curling out of that right corner. And Trevor Zegras is a lefty, and typically when he's on the wing, he's usually going to be on the left side. And so could have just been the nature of the drills, just trying to get him to move around. But I think that when he returns, we're going to see him on the right flank on the power play. And hopefully, because historically he's been there quite a bit on this team.
Yeah.
And also the hope there is that with Zegras back in the fold in his usual office, that will mean that unit with Zegras, Karlsson, Terry will return as kind of the first power play unit, and the era of the current first power play unit will be long gone. Yeah. And then the other element of just Trevor Zegras' usage that I'm curious is we don't exactly know the timeline for McTavish. So will Zegras get a stint at center to start?
Yeah,
that would be fun as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because I think you and I have both gotten to this point where, while I think Zegras is best at center, I think we're getting closer and closer to positionless hockey, where it doesn't really matter, and what matters more is getting guys surrounded with more talented players. I think there are ways that guys can be optimized with their position, and I think playing guys in their optimal position is always best. But I think as long as you're surrounding them with good talent, is also the way to go. And so definitely an interesting look, though, if Zegras does end up back at center. I kind of think I think wing is probably where he'll end up, like you're saying, with kind of how they're using him throughout the practice and everything like that. And just for everyone out there, Felix was able to watch some of that. So that is where that's coming from. That is his own information.
Yeah. Okay. So that was mine. I will be, and honestly, just like as a footnote to that, I'm just excited to watch Trevor Zegras again.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday, but like this team's watchability goes so far down when Zegras is out. And that's nothing against the guys on the team and in the lineup. It's just that Trevor Zegras is kind of a one-man show. And not in a bad way. Like he just adds such a dynamic element. I'm just excited to see him back, but more particularly how he will be used.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bummer that he's only going to have played, if he returns and plays the rest of the games through the season, 34 games this season.
Oh, man, that is such a bummer.
That is, and like he played 81 games last year, 75 the season before.
Yeah.
And so it just puts into perspective just like how much of a bummer this season has been with him not being able to be in the lineup. Okay. So my next one for things I'm excited for. I don't know if actually this is an excited for or looking.
Well, they don't have to be something you're excited about. It's just that you're
interested in. So to kind of your point right now, and this kind of, we're just piggybacking off of one another, which is great.
Piggy party.
Yeah. Piggy party. Maybe a cow party with some mooing. So some lineup decisions. So this last little stretch for the Ducks, like I mentioned, has been one of their worst offensive stretches. You look at expected goal metrics, they're underneath 2 in almost every single game. They are underneath 1 in some of these games at 5-on-5. They're just really not having good looks of it. And some of that is obviously going to be due to injury. It's you just can't discount that factor in this. But it also just feels like Greg Cronin is just kind of making some really weird choices with his lineups. And the fact of yesterday's game comes to mind where he started out with Frank Vatrano, Frank Vatrano, Ryan Strome, Frank Vatrano, Leo Carlsson, Alex Killorn, and then I forget who was on the left wing, but it was Strome and Terry. And basically halfway through the first period, due to some penalty kill situations, Vatrano and Terry switched. The Ducks had their best shift of the entire game, with Terry, Carlson, Killorn out on the ice, generated a goal off that shift, and they took one more shift together, utterly dominant together. And then what does he do when the second period starts? Puts Vatrano back on that line. And while underlying metrics, they still got some looks going their way, it just feels like these decisions where I don't necessarily understand the logic there when you have something that's clearly working, and it's almost like he's trying to keep Terry away from the higher end players when instead of just loading it up when you're so offensively devoid right now of getting good chances, that just load it up and give yourself one line that is for sure going to get you chances and looks. And so that's something that I'm kind of curious about. Now, granted, as guys get healthy, it's going to become easier, but I still think it comes back to these lineup decisions and choices. I mean, hell, Ross Johnston was on the ice in a 6-on-5 situation. I forget which game that was. Now they're all was it the Minnesota game? And Well, yes, people tried to say he put in a lot of effort. That's great. Good for Ross Johnston. He had a good game. He has 3 points this season. You're down 2 goals. You are trying to build some things with this team, build some confidence in this team, and you put out a guy that has 3 points in a 6-on-5 situation. That is just not something that's going to work. Like, Alex Killorn could have been out there. Mason McTavish could have been out there. There are so many other guys that just make so much more sense. And these types of decisions that it's almost shooting yourself in the foot, these are things that we would have criticized Dallas Eakins over. And so these types of just suboptimal decisions that feels like they've been rearing their ugly head lately, I think that those are something that I really have my eye on of, are these going to continue or will these change?
Yeah, I think the real test with Cronin, because I agree with you that the line combinations as of late have just felt kind of like he just spins the wheel before the game, and like however it lands is how the lines end up. Like they don't feel like they have a ton of rhyme or reason to them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of injuries and there's some shorthandedness going on. So when everybody is healthy, which means, like when Zegras is back, McTavish is back, which should be soon, then we will see kind of, okay, was this just kind of like a mirage with all the injuries, or has his methodology really started to take a hit?
Well, and it's just odd. And also, one thing I want to mention is there's a couple people in our YouTube chat saying Cronin wants to lose. If you listen to Greg Cronin, I get kind of the joke part of that, but that's a man that does not want to tank, doesn't want to lose.
He hates losing.
He hates losing. So I would just kind of throw that even out as a joke. But I think back to early on, right? I was thinking back to one of the earlier games in the season where defending a 1-goal lead, he had Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry on the ice. And it just feels like that type of mentality isn't necessarily there anymore.
Yeah, I think the big difference now, too, is just the kind of the accumulation of frustration and disappointment that's gone on in the season. When you come out, brand new coach, brand new system, relatively new roster, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of pushing the boundary. There's a lot of, you don't have the wear and tear and the scars of a season. Now, with all the losses, with all the just awful play, there's not, some coaches will go one of two ways. They'll either go with screw it, throw caution to the wind, let's just try stuff. Or, man, I just really don't want this to get any worse. How can I make it as not bad as possible? And so some of those more aggressive tactics that you're talking about, I think it's just human nature that they kind of start pulling back a little bit. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just, I think that could
the
be
reality
part
of it. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. You don't want the guys to be bummed out yet again by another loss. And then you would counter that maybe that these decisions are contributing to the losing. So interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will piggyback it again. This is a Greg Cronin based point here.
Okay.
Greg Cronin based storyline. But
will you set me up for my next one? That's the question.
I don't know. I have a feeling our next one is going to be the same.
Okay.
I could be very wrong, but I think it will be the same. Should I just switch to that one?
No, you got to piggyback. Don't mess with the piggyback.
Okay, I'm going to keep the piggyback train going, but my theme that I'm looking for is making the little things the big things again. When we first were told and sold on Greg Cronin, everything was about how he's a detail-oriented coach, that he was going to bring a level of accountability, Cronin, the motivator, that he was going to bring just this elevated standard to Anaheim. And I think when you listen to the players talk about him, when you listen to what Pavel Bek said about him, at the migration pancake breakfast flock flying event, it sounds like that's happening. But watching this team on the ice, the details, the devil is in the details, and the amount of just like miscommunications, issues that have cropped up in the D zone. Watching some clips today of Carolina's D zone, and that's how the Ducks want to play. The Ducks are kind of far off from being able to, or at least right now, they look like they're far off from being able to accomplish that. And so what I would like Cronin to kind of get back to, and maybe now with some home games coming up is a good time to do it, but you've got 14 games left. Let's just get back to those fundamental details of the game, D zone structure, forecheck, and just kind of let everything flow from that instead of just, worrying about not losing or the bad vibes or whatever. Like, get back to that basis, because if you think back to the beginning of the season, that's what really made the Ducks, I think, successful, was that they were able to kind of establish that foundation, be good at the small things, and then their talent could shine from there. And as that foundation has crumbled, along with injuries, so too has their success this season. So I would like them to just get back to those very small things, and hopefully that will amount to some winning.
Yeah. And one thing I want to touch on briefly that's being mentioned in the Twitch chat is I don't think either of us are calling for Cronin's job. I think we're both in the same spot where we're very neutral on him. I'm at the same position as you are on that, and that kind of this year was, I mean, Pavel Bek said it like you said, that they're learning through a fire hose or drinking through a fire hose or whatever it is, that this was the year of really tough learning, but the expectations do change next year, and the expectations should be higher. And that is where you can really start getting critical of what's happening. And also want to give a shout out, our good friend, Hey Yo D-Flow, Mike DeFlorio. It's his born day.
Happy born day.
Happy born day. So I agree completely though with the details, and hopefully that will help the team win down the stretch. I'll piggyback. And you know what also could help this team win down the stretch?
Let's hear
Cutter
it.
Gauthier joining the team.
Oh, okay. You didn't do what I did. Thank God. Okay.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
I just am looking forward to seeing what Cutter Gauthier can do on this Ducks team. See what type of element he can add to this team with the shot that he has and how he just meshes and molds with this team. The downside is, as everyone knows, if Boston College makes the Frozen Four, he'll only be able to play in the final game of the season against Vegas in Vegas. But if Boston College does lose in the regionals, so the first round, which would be, I think it's not this upcoming weekend, but it's the weekend after.
This weekend is the conference finals.
Yeah. So if they were to lose, it's the 28th through the 31st. If they lose any of their first two games, if they win their first one, they move to the second. If they lose that, they're done. If they lose their second one, they're done. It's a knockout tournament. So he'll be able to play in about 6 or 7 games if they lose in the regionals. So
you're going to be cheering against Boston College?
I am not cheering against Boston College in the Hockey East tournament because Boston College, Boston College.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, I know, but I'm talking about in the Frozen Four or
yes.
in the yes. Okay.
Yes, I will be.
Okay. They are the number 1 ranked team in the nation right now, I think. So
they are. I looked at their record because I was just curious. Like they're just like games. Scrolled through their games. They have not lost back-to-back games this season.
I think they're going to get upset. That's my prediction.
I think they're going to win the Hockey East and then get upset in the one of those first 2 games.
Especially, I mean, Gabe Perreault is still hurt, and I don't know when he's coming back. So that also hurts.
Is this copium? Potentially. But I mean, it's hockey. Hockey, like in a single game elimination, like it's the most just like up in the air. Who knows what could happen type of game.
Well, Boston College could definitely win the whole thing, but my thing with them is that they're basically a one-line team, and Cutter Gauthier, gets his points in the power play, but right now, like they're completely a one-line team because Gauthier has to play on the top line in Perreault's absence. And I just feel like at some point they're going to run into a team that can
shut them down,
just slow them down enough. Because if you watch some of these Hockey East games, like some of the teams they're playing are just not anywhere near their level. And it's like at some point that's going to change.
Well, and every team that makes the NCAA tournament, even the lower seeded teams, which they should get the easiest seeded team, that's still a good hockey team. There are 16 teams that make the NCAA tournament, so it's a top 16 team in college hockey, and they have lost some game. They've lost to Providence this year. Like they've lost some games.
They've lost to BU. I mean, that was a major game.
So
I wouldn't call them a lock to win it at all.
But getting back to my point, hopefully, I think from a Ducks fan perspective, they are bounced in that first round so that we can see more Cutter Gauthier on the Anaheim Ducks and see what he can do.
Yeah, well. I applaud that, and I think that now people will be cheering against Boston College once the tournament starts. So there you go.
Yeah.
We also want to see Cutter succeed and have the time of his life with his buddies, but would rather see him do that in Anaheim.
Let him win the Hockey East tournament. He can celebrate and enjoy all of that. Get that celebration, and then go just lose in the first round and come join Anaheim.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to make this one quick.
Okay.
But it bears mentioning, I will be fixated, not just intrigued, not just interested. I will be fixated on the Ducks penalty kill.
Ooh.
Because right now, it is as bad as it's ever been.
You've come to my side?
They have allowed 8 goals in the last 4 games. And I actually charted every single goal just so I could really let it wash over me of how bad they've been. And what's hilarious, if you look at all the goals they've allowed in the last week, so St. Louis, Chicago, Winnipeg, they miraculously had one game against Minnesota where they didn't allow a shorthanded goal. The goals are happening all over the ice in a variety of different scenarios. Like there's not this thing where you can be like, oh, well, if they just fix that. They're trying to be a heavy pressure team. And what happens a lot of the time, and this happened a lot against St. Louis, you have 2 forwards on the same side of the ice. And guess what happens when you do that? The puck's going back the other way to the weak side. And Robert Thomas just basically made a fool of the Ducks against St. Louis. But then you look at their net front coverage. there were some down low plays against Chicago where they all looked atrocious. I mean, letting guys win battles. I don't really know what to say, what the fix is, because there's so many things wrong. But if you just watch them as a whole, there's instances where guys are able to just, this happened against Chicago, guys are able to just walk in on net. Like Seth Jones was able to walk in basically below the faceoff dot and get a shot off. And you could say maybe it was a bit of a soft goal allowed by Gibson, but the lack of just like bite, the lack of pressure when the opposition is actually entering that box area is just so bad and so antithetical to everything that we know about Cronin, that if they just started there, like just defend home base better, we can worry about the outside stuff later, but just don't be so, I hate to say it, but don't be so functionally soft in that middle area. And like, they're at least going to have a chance, because right now it's like a shooting gallery out there for the opposition.
Have you come to my side of the argument that the penalty kill is worse for this team than the power play in terms of hurting them more?
I mean, they're burning at
or a bigger issue, I guess.
They're burning at both ends of the same candle. Like it's both of them are killing them. But right now, I mean, against St. Louis, they allowed 3 power play goals against. Like you just lost the game basically.
The other issue is they have such a big penchant for taking penalties.
Yes.
That having this atrocious of a penalty kill is just, it kills you. Absolutely kills you.
Yeah.
And
but
so
the penalty kill is just so bad. They're 29th in expected goals against per 60. Like there's just no positive spin on this penalty kill. It is really bad. And
they can't get clears. There's never an easy kill.
And what's kind of funny is that I was thinking about it this weekend, but like we've really harped on the power play quite a bit, and the power play hasn't been good. But at least it's had points in time where it's looked like, okay, I can see the vision, I can see, and we've all just kind of taken it for granted that Newell Brown is not back. But I'm starting to wonder, like, why are we like? I think Brent Thompson is for sure back next season, but like, I feel like we've been throwing shade at the wrong guy.
Have you come to my side? I've been saying this for a bit, that the penalty kill is garbage. And I mean, it's such a big issue.
To be fair to Newell Brown and the amount of crap he's gotten, like the Ducks are 32nd. They're dead last in XGF, expected goals for per 60 on the power play. So like the the power play is worse at what it's supposed to do than the penalty kill is. So the power play is still very, very bad and still a huge detriment, but at least
the penalty kill with the penalty kill with how many penalties they take, I think, is the issue. It's the compounding effect there, right?
Yeah. So anyway, the Ducks' whole special teams this season, just literally throw it in the trash, because that's how bad it's been.
And I think there just needs to be a reassessment of the players you're using. Like Frank Vatrano should not be on the penalty kill. Like he is just not a good defensive player. Like that is not someone that should be out on your penalty kill. I'll look up some numbers in a second, just out of curiosity, for some of the guys that have some of the better PK numbers on this team. I'm just kind of curious for that. But kind of you mentioned this though, that there might need to be a spring cleaning of the Ducks special teams units. Well, this episode is brought to you by the spring cleaning champions Manscaped. This season, make sure to groom your carpets and the drapes with the leaders in below the waist grooming. Clear out that winter bush with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and watch your confidence bloom like springtime flowers. Embrace the season and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their special offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code CTP for 20% off plus free shipping. After using Manscaped, I can finally say I have caught the spring fever. Introducing the season's champ, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. It also features dual LED spotlights to guide you through the darkest winter debris. Navigate with confidence in your delicate areas. Hate making a mess? Not to worry. This bad boy is waterproof. You can shave in the shower, in the bath, or even in the ocean. Go out there, have a good time out in the ocean, see a seal. Maybe you'll see a cow mooing out in the water. You never know what you'll see. And I love this thing because it comes with a compact case. I take it with me everywhere I go. Spring cleaning doesn't just apply to the nether regions. Get the full grooming experience with Manscaped's signature Beard Hedger Pro Kit plus Handyman Electric Face Shaver. Whether you're looking to craft your signature look or clean up that neckline, these are always the right tools for the job. You can get 20% off and free shipping with the code CTP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CTP at manscaped.com. Nothing like a little spring cleaning in your pants.
Go check them out. Okay, so I think we've kind of circled the wagons here. Went through all 3 for each.
I have a couple more if you want me to just hit on them. I made 5 just in case we had overlapping, and
we actually did not.
We did not. I am shocked. My other ones, I'll just touch on them quick. Olin Zellweger, he's playing more and more, and he seems like he's getting more and more comfortable with each passing game. He seems like he's really starting to impact the play. He's jumping up in the play at really good opportune times. You see him down like in really good looks when they have a long extended ozone time. And so I think just continuing to watch him, see how he's getting more and more confident and comfortable in an NHL game, I think is going to be really exciting, really fascinating to watch. And the other thing is just kind of a realistic view of this. The Ducks have a really tough schedule down the stretch. They're playing a lot of like decent to good teams, where really the only kind of softer opponents in these last 14 games are St. Louis and Chicago. The rest of them are kind of tougher opponents. Seattle might be a iffy soft one. Calgary might be, but those are still solid enough teams. And they're playing LA a bunch. Like, they're playing tough opponents down this stretch. And so it's really going to be a test for Cronin and all the guys that are returning. And on the flip side of that, if somehow they don't play well, like the Ducks are at this point in time locked up into, at worst, being third best lottery odds. I know we don't want to talk about the lottery too much, but
I mean, there's 14 games left. Like,
yep, they could end up with the second worst odds. I don't think they will end up with the worst odds. I think San Jose is way too far down. Yeah. But there's potential for Chicago to catch the Ducks.
There is. I'd
say it's doubtful.
I don't know if I mean, Chicago's roster is, I mean, Chicago just spanked the Ducks, so we should probably give them their flowers. But yeah, not exactly sure what's going to happen there. I mean, yeah, the schedule's going to be tough, but I really just hope that the players and the staff just kind of view it as like a training camp vibe. Yeah. Of like each game, there's something to prove for everybody.
And I think I view this year very, very different, to be honest, than last year. I think this year you have your head coach intact. You have your entire team is your young players. It's not like last year where, sure, you had Zegras, sure, you had Terry, sure, you had McTavish, but Minchikov wasn't on the team. Zellweger was not on the team. Like, now you have those guys here. You're going to get Cutter Gauthier onto this team also. You have Leo Carlsson here. Like, essentially once Gauthier joins the team, all of your high-end, high-quality drafted prospects are on this team. And so finding some results, finding a way to give them positive results down the stretch is actually going to be important to build that next season. And so they can't go, they're not going to go higher than third overall. So you're not really hurting your draft standings that much if you're winning these games. So I think down the stretch, finding this team, finding a way to gel, finding a way to implement these younger guys and having impacts on the game, I think it is going to be very important.
Yeah, like it would be absolutely shocking if they somehow fell out of that bottom 3. They have a lot of work to do for that to happen. So, because I mean, Columbus is dead last in the East, and they're still 8 points ahead of the Ducks. So it's just not happening.
Yeah, and they have 2 games in hand. I was looking at Ottawa, but yeah, 8 points ahead of the Ducks, and it's just unlikely in 14 games for the Ducks to make up those 8 points.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's hear your next one then.
I think that was it.
Oh,
I said 5 total.
More.
I did give 2. I said Zellweger and then that one.
Oh, Zellweger. I forgot about the Zellweger one. Sorry. Okay. Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you ready for the Washington Capitals being in the playoffs?
They are not making the playoffs.
They are in playoff position right now.
They are not making the playoffs.
Okay. Who's making who?
No, they're not. Wait, no, they're not. I'm looking at the standings right now.
They are in wild card position.
Oh, are you going off? Oh, whoops.
In...
This was old, I guess. Yeah, now I see it.
They are in wild card position.
Nope. Pitt.
Are you going to say Devils?
No, I'm going Pittsburgh.
Okay. The team that has one more point than the Devils?
Exactly. In one less game, though.
You just hitch your wagons to like the funniest teams.
Because here's the thing. Washington, don't want to see them make it. They're not a good team. I think that it would not be fun to make it. Detroit would be kind of fun, but they are at 5-on-5 as bad as the Ducks are. Like, they are not a good 5-on-5 team either.
The Red Wings are a one-line team.
Yes. And the Islanders are just boring. I don't want to see the Islanders make it. And so it's like Pittsburgh has really good 5-on-5 numbers.
Pittsburgh's just not making it. They just have too many teams to leapfrog, and they're just so far behind.
Gotta hold out hope.
6 points behind.
We'll see.
But yeah, the Caps. It's funny because like last week I was joking like, oh yeah, the Caps like don't look now, but they have a chance to come back, and they just won again tonight.
They have a minus 27 goal differential.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this like playoff race in the East is the most fun. It's the most fun I've had watching like a playoff race because it just changes like every day.
No team wants to make the playoffs. Basically, every team's losing in that race.
Aside from Tampa, basically everyone else. Because for a while, and now we're a little off topic from the Ducks, but we'll veer back in. For a while, it looked like the Islanders had it locked up. For a while, the Red Wings had it locked up. Then they fell apart. Then the Islanders looked like they had it locked up. Then they fell apart. So now the Capitals will inevitably fall apart in the next 2 weeks.
And the Pittsburgh Penguins will make the playoffs. Boom.
What I just love, well, the Penguins have to actually like win some games for that to happen. But the Flyers, everyone wrote them off. And here they are still in third in the Metro.
Yeah, it seems like they aren't going to be dropping out of that spot.
Yeah. So I just think that's hilarious that we were all just kind of assuming that was like an extra spot for these wild card Metro teams to aspire to. And like, it looks like they don't really want it. So anyway, One thing I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Given that I've been doing so much standings watch and scoreboard watching, maybe to the chagrin of people around me as I'm constantly looking at my phone and NHL app. Yes, I look at the NHL app for scores. I don't know what you guys look at.
The NHL app is the best app for the standings. I prefer the score app for looking at the scores. They still have regulation and overtime wins listed, though. They don't have regulation wins listed on the standings, which is a big issue when that is the main tiebreaker. Let
me ask you this.
Okay.
Who is your bandwagon team in the East, and who is your bandwagon team in the West?
Ooh.
And just so everyone, just so we're all clear, you don't lose your fan card if you just want to enjoy the playoffs and kind of root for something.
Bandwagon team in the East. I mean, I feel like going with any like Boston, Florida, Toronto doesn't feel right. Like,
why does it not feel right?
Boston doesn't feel right because I don't really want to cheer for Boston. Florida made the Cup final last year, so there's that. Toronto's just heartbreak, no matter what.
Okay.
Rangers. I just can't for reasons.
Because you've been shitting on them the entire season, and they keep proving you wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Carolina, no, boring.
You're ruling out almost every team. So
yes, this is the struggle I'm having. All right,
you're going to say Devils.
No, I'm going to hitch my wagon to the... You know what? I'm going to go back on what I said. For our good friend Mike DeFlorio, on his born day, I'm going to hitch my wagon to the New York Rangers.
They are fun. They're a fun team. They're kind of like the anti-Florida and Carolina where they have flaws.
They're not good at 5-on-5 and just take advantage of the situations when they need it.
Well, their top line is good at 5-on-5, but they're just not deep in that way. But they have ways to win games, and they've been doing it all year. But yes, they are the anti-Carolina and Florida, and in a good way too. Like, I think Carolina and Florida just not as exciting of like the camera angle sucks in Florida. Carolina, their jerseys, I go back and forth on those. So, okay, New York's a good pick.
I feel like I'm being booed for the Rangers pick.
I mean, I think it's a good pick. I mean, you're none of the wild card teams you're going to pick because
No.
you don't know which ones are going to make it.
Exactly.
Also,
and then
I just want to point out,
okay,
just to step on the grave one more time, the Devils are as close to the Canadians in the standings are as they are to the last wild card spot.
Thanks. All right, in the West. So in the West, I'm between Edmonton and Colorado.
Okay.
Edmonton is Henrique / I want to see McDavid win. Like, I want to see him win a cup. I think it's good for the game to have the best player in the league win a cup. But Colorado, I love the moves that they made at the deadline. And I just think rewarding a team that went out and made these type of kind of like big kind of risky type of deals, taking the swing on getting Casey Mittelstadt, giving up on Bowen Byram in the process, like knowing what you needed and making those types of swings that kind of felt like they came out of nowhere. I'd love to see that get rewarded.
So you're saying Colorado?
Where I'll let you pick for me. Which one, Edmonton or Colorado?
Oh, I'm picking for you?
Yes, I'm letting you pick one of these two for me.
Okay, Edmonton or Colorado? How much do you value the former Duck factor?
It's fairly high, honestly.
Okay, because I think both teams have an equal amount of former Ducks. Because Colorado's Cogliano and Manson.
Yeah.
Edmonton has recent former Ducks, Henrique and Carrick.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Edmonton for you because I think Edmonton might be the better team.
Yeah.
Which might be scandalous to say. Might not be. I don't know.
They have McDavid.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm picking Edmonton for you mainly for the former Duck factor.
And there's Perry. So there's 3 former Ducks.
Wait, why can't I pick Vancouver for you?
I gave you 2 teams to pick from.
Why can't I pick Vancouver?
Because
they have Corey Perry. So Corey Perry's the tiebreaker.
Yep.
Edmonton's an easy pick then.
Okay. Edmonton Oilers and New York Rangers.
Okay. Well, then I'll just pick a team here. I'll go Winnipeg Jets because they're really good and they have players that I like.
Yeah, for sure.
And then in the East, you stole the Rangers from me, and I've talked a lot of crap on them. But
do you want me to give you them back, and I'll take the Carolina Hurricanes?
I'm taking the Hurricanes.
Oh, okay.
I'm jumping on them. I've talked a lot of crap on them. They have gotten this boring reputation, but
getting Kuznetsov has been a fun acquisition.
I would be bored too if I was a fan of another team if the Hurricanes were just winning all the time. And that's basically what they've been doing the last however many years. All they really do is win a bunch of regular season games and try to go on playoff runs. So you just got to respect it at some point, even if it's not the exact type of product you want, the consistency, the identity. And yeah, the Evgeny Kuznetsov subplot, like now they have a guy, he's already won a cup, but like they can kind of, help him on this redemption arc.
Mm-hmm.
They're a fun story.
Yeah.
I'm surprised neither of us went with Dallas in the West, but
I don't know why Dallas
they have a really fun team.
I think it's just hard for me to ever shake the idea of just disliking them. I don't know. Dallas is a weird team for me just as a franchise. Just as a franchise, they're a weird team for me.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. Questions or anything else?
You didn't pick the Kings?
I did not pick the Kings.
Okay, let's get into some questions.
All right, so we're going to start with our Patreon exclusive Discord. Go to patreon.com/crashspawn, where if you support us at the $2 tier or above, you get access to our Discord. So we had this one from last Tuesday. Gerg is saying, when are we getting a CTP Battle Pass? I mean, our Patreon's basically that, so there's that. Bring 'em home Drumbanger said, how long does #VibesHC last next year? Into the playoffs.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going on. I'm taking my stand. It's gonna definitely bite me in the ass. I'm being positive though because
it's gonna last up until early March. I'm gonna say early March.
Yeah, I think that's more realistic. I think for me, it's just in some ways the fact that Verbeek is so adamant about getting into the race. I think he's gonna make some big moves this summer.
I mean, if the Ducks have the kind of season standings wise that the Devils are having this year, I think you take that as a win.
Yep.
Hung around and just kind of fell out at the end.
Max Jones Truther asked, what does Jackson LaComb's RFA deal look like this summer?
That is a good question. I honestly don't know because
My
we don't
bet's
have.
probably my bet like 2 year, 1.5 mil.
Yeah, like two by 1.5, 2 by 2, something like that.
Yeah. I
Nothing that will be very noteworthy.
Isaac said if Verbeek had been the GM starting in 2019, how different would the Ducks draft picks have been from 19 to 21? Only the top two draft picks each year.
I don't think they would have been that different. Like would
No,
Verbeek not have drafted Zegras at ninth
no.
overall?
Zegras was best overall. Maybe he wouldn't have taken Drysdale.
McTavish is absolutely a Verbeek pick.
I mean, would he have maybe taken someone instead of Drysdale there?
I don't know. I think that the picks may very well be the exact same, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. All right. And then he said, what team will have the left side decor, assuming they stay the same, in 5 years? Or who will have the better left side decor in 5 years? Anaheim or Buffalo?
Ooh, well, Buffalo's got. I mean, they've got Darlene,
Owen
Byram,
Power.
Power.
Is Power left or right now?
I think he's
I think
a
he's
lefty.
left. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have the same problem the Ducks do, where they have too many lefties.
I
But
would probably go Buffalo just because of Darlene.
the correct answer is probably Buffalo, but I'm such a huge Pavel Minchikov stan that I'm going Anaheim.
Wow. You went for the Ducks. I went for the Sabres. Wow.
Who's the real fan?
Yeah, exactly. Brad said 2 questions. Is there any scenario where Cronin is fired at the end of this year? No.
Nope.
And he said, will the Ducks end up with more total points than last year?
This season?
Yes.
What did they have last year?
That was what I was looking for right now. Let's see.
They had 30. They had 58.
They had 58 points last season. They have
49
49 now. Will they get...
They need 9 more points in 14 games. I say they do it.
Yeah, I say they do it.
I say they do it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine though if they finished with like 1 less?
Yeah. Let's see. Brad also said, never mind. That was an actual question about it. Shaken Wing said, when does it end? We're getting close.
I think it means the misery of losing a lot.
Yeah.
I think next season, again, early March, Devils-esque arc for next season is what I'm expecting.
Yep. Winterborn said, Ducks pick third overall. Who is your pick?
Third, well, who's going at number 2?
I mean, that's the question.
Who's going at number 2? If available, I mean, to me, it's going to come down to Demidov, Lindstrom, or Levshunov. And of those 3, I think Caden Lindstrom is probably who I would end up landing on. I love the upside with Demidov, but there's also significant downside with some of his skating. So I will say Lindstrom, but very tantalized by Demidov.
I have not done enough. It's probably it's probably those 3. I may go Levshunov. I'm just really intrigued by adding that right-hand shot. That's kind of a high-end talent to this group.
Okay.
We've talked about how they have so many left-hand shots that someone's going to have to go to the right, but I think adding a Levshunov can be really interesting long-term for this team, especially if they go out and sign a top 6 winger. Like their top 6 is then set. Now you're adding a high-end right shot defenseman to the group.
I mean, he might not play for a little bit though.
True. And he also said, when does Mitch Brown grace us with his presence again?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Probably usually closer to draft time though.
Yeah, I think we want to see the lottery happen and then kind of go from there.
Yep.
Logic King Plant Ranch said, what is your most pie in the sky optimistic take for next year? Ducks make the playoffs.
I mean, that would be the most optimistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Livinsy Hitman said, why are the Ducks not good?
Well, they have the worst power play in the league. They have the 3rd worst penalty kill in the league. And they're a bottom 3rd 5-on-5 team.
And they take the most penalties.
So you put all those things together, you shake them up, you put a little water on them, you let them grow overnight, and you have this year's Ducks.
Yep. Peasant ass Louis said, how many goals does Trevor Zegras score when he does come back?
Oh, I'm gonna say 5.
Yeah, I'll go 5.
Big number.
Literate Gal said, how does the Believe crowd find solace in the season and in the future lists and options?
I mean, we talk about it. It feels every podcast, but the solace is in is in the youth. It's in the young talent. It's the fact that these guys they're all here. They're all going to be here. There's still more young talent on its way, and that's the biggest driver of success in the NHL is having a young core that's actually good, and the Ducks have that. Now it's just a matter of getting everything else in order.
Yeah, and I think the other way you can find solace is that, well, yes, they need to start generating offense, and part of that is just due to the amount of injuries they've had. I think what you can say is that at 5-on-5, they have shored up one of their biggest issues from last season, which was the leakiness on the back end. And they've turned that into just kind of about an average defensive team now, which is a huge improvement.
Hold on. They are not average defensive.
Average by Micah's.
They are 24th in XG.
Micah has them as 2% over.
Okay. Well, there's a big discrepancy there, but yeah,
that was what I was going off of with that. 2% over is about average. A little bit greater or a little bit lower than average, depending on which way you look at it. But so a little worse than average. But still, that is a market improvement from where they were last year. And so that is a place that you can take solace. Ducks Dragonet said, which Ducks players end up on their retrospective national teams for the next Winter Olympics?
I like how you just added retro to that.
Respective, yeah. Sometimes my brain just goes.
Next winter. Well, when are they?
What is it? 2026. So not next season, but the season after.
Dostal and Gudas, Czech Republic.
Gudas probably does. Dostal probably does for goaltending. Carlson to
Zegras Team USA.
Zegras has a chance for Team USA. Team USA is going to be deep, so he needs to have a big season next season. Troy Terry, Leo Carlson. Yeah. Mason McTavish makes Team Canada. I don't know.
I mean, he would have to take like a big leap. I mean,
Pavel Minchikov.
Russia.
Right? I was gonna say if Russia plays Minchikov.
Yeah, I don't even know if he would.
I don't think Zellweger makes Team Canada.
No. Yeah.
So
I mean, Gibson.
Nah, probably not.
Team USA. I mean, who do they have? Hellebuck, Demko.
I don't. Does Cutter Gauthier make Team USA?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if he makes it, they're going to lose. But could be wrong about that.
Okay. Let's see. Kutzman comment said, do you think there should be a new rule implemented if it was approved by the NHL specifically for the Ducks that if the Ducks commit a minor penalty, it must always be served by Cam Fowler?
Sure.
Yeah, I got nothing. Give 19 the C Drumbanger said, which Ducks prospect do you think will have a better career, Sasha Pastujov or Yegor Sidorov? I'll go Pastujov.
Yeah. I'm just cheering for Pastujov.
Like, I get the Sidorov hype. I get it's exciting. I love what he does. Personality is all there, everything like that. But I think perspective on kind of his age is important in some of this. And so seeing what he's going to do when he starts getting out of juniors and jumping to the AHL is going to be really important for him.
Yeah, I mean, Pastujov also had good production in junior, and it's taking him time. So
well, and did it at a younger age than Sidorov did with that production.
Yeah.
So, Ducks and 5 said, how do Gibson and Dostal's game differ? Strengths and weaknesses, etc. Are there teams that may be better suited to face? Each may be better suited to face. Seems beneficial with the split having each goaltender only study 16 teams each.
Man, why am I not finding this question?
It's right underneath the Pastujov one.
But yeah, I think the biggest difference is that, I mean, first off, Gibson's just bigger. So that really changes like how you approach the game. I think Dostal is actually a little quicker. I think Dostal is better side to side. I think he makes more of those difficult lateral saves. I think that Gibson is a little bit better with those kind of net front scrambles, just being bigger, being stronger. Weirdly, I think that for whatever reason, Dostal has just let in a lot of like long range shots this season where there wasn't a lot of traffic. But I think that Gibson's the better goalie right now, but I don't think that they're too far off from each other.
Yeah, I would agree. Missed a couple questions, so we'll get to these ones. D-Rock said, who has been the most improved player this season, in your opinion? Vakanainen.
I mean, his improvement is just staying healthy.
I also just think he's looked better. than
Yeah.
how he did not look like he was an NHLer before.
How many
Now
games
he
did he play
does.
in the NHL before, or played with the Ducks before this?
Not a lot.
Like 5?
Yeah, something like that. Duckstrack and I also asked, considering his
Wait, I
contributions.
didn't give my answer.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were agreeing with me on that answer. My bad.
I wasn't really agreeing because I'm not sure what your basis is for Urho Vakanainen takes pre this year, but I'm gonna go Troy Terry because he was really playing like crap in the beginning of the season, and
Okay.
he really turned his game around. His underlying numbers are actually kind of down this season, which is slightly concerning, but I think that he has made strides in his overall game, so I will give him some flowers.
Vakanainen, by the way, last season played 23 games. The season before 14,
Okay,
and this season has played 58 games.
yeah, availability is the best ability.
Duck Dragonet said, considering his contributions to the organization, what's the easiest but still most respectful way to handle the Cam Fowler situation?
Buyout.
Move him down to a bottom 6 pairing or bottom pairing role and see what he does in that lower minutes, lower intensity role, and see if he can elevate his game there.
Yeah, start there and then buyout once that probably crumbles.
If that crumbles. Feeling Ducky said, if the Ducks are healthy next year and have a middle of the pack power play and penalty kill, are they a playoff team?
Probably not, but they will hang around.
Yeah, it depends on it's hard to say without knowing exactly what they do in the offseason. Doom Krauser said, what do you consider the worst case scenario for the Ducks next season?
The worst case scenario
this
would be
same thing happening.
the same exact season, or just another season where they're out of it very early.
Yeah. Yep. Tiki Lore said, would you trade Lacombe for Justin Falk, adding picks or whatever to make the trade even?
No.
Nope, I would not. OG Leo Carlson Trufer said, question for Young Dolph and Licks. Do the Ducks make their pick with their new first round pick or from Edmonton, or is it traded?
Traded to Carolina.
Wow.
For Martin Necas.
Give 19 the C Drumbanger said, what line do you put Zegras on upon his return?
Put him at center. Put him at center with Terry.
Put him at Leo Carlson and Troy Terry.
More realistically, he'll be on the wing with Leo Carlson.
Yep. Tussle said, if you were in Verbeek's shoes when free agency opens this summer, what contract would you offer to Sam Reinhart, assuming he has decided to explore free agency? Who else would you target, trade, or otherwise?
I mean, my number one target is Martin Necas for trade. I might just skip the UFA list. Like, there's just not a lot of good options at the prices they're going to command. I think the thing with Reinhart is just keeping the term down, like trying to keep it to like below 6 years. I just don't think he's going to go for that because he's not going to have to.
Yeah. Yep. And then who else do you target? Necas is a big one.
Yep.
So, and let's see. Bring him home. Drumbinger said, who's your ideal assistant coach hire that will replace Newell Brown next year?
I'm not convinced Newell Brown is gone. I think we need to pump the brakes on that being a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, there's just no guarantee that he's not back.
Yep. All right. And now let's go to, I got a couple questions from Twitter. Sean Castro said, hey guys, what do you think Cronin can do in the offseason that he might not be doing now to fix discipline issues that have been occurring all season? Also, if there's time, you have to fight either a giant spider or a giant snake. Which one are you choosing?
Wait, how many questions were in that question?
There were 2.
Okay.
What do you think Cronin can do in the offseason that he might not be doing now to fix the discipline issues?
I don't know. This has been like the constant theme of this season is how do you fix that? And I honestly don't know. Maybe change the way you defend, make it less of like a physical man-on-man style, but I don't know. I honestly just, the players just have to smarten up. And then giant spider, giant snake. I'm going snake. I hate spiders. especially big spiders. Big spiders are disgusting.
But snakes are terrifying.
Yeah, but big spiders are really just gross to me.
There's a lot of legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it'd go steak. I don't like that question though. Barry said, question for the pod if you're taking him. If Ben Myers is a UFA at the end of the season, could Verbeek have just tried to sign him in the offseason instead of trading a pick for him?
That was a good question. I mean, they probably wanted to kind of see what he could do before
committing the money.
Yeah, and like a 5th round pick is not a huge cost. So yeah, I don't think that that's like a big deal.
Yep. Let's see. Got two DMs. Justin Beck said, after seeing Felix's tweet about Carolina's D-zone coverage and it being similar to what Cronin wants to do you see Verbeek targeting some Carolina UFAs? One that comes to mind, and this would fit the bottom 6 role, is Martinook.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that being kind of a good idea, actually, because it's like, hey, let's bring in someone who actually knows how to do this, has done it at a high level, and who can kind of be the model for other players. So yeah, actually, I like that idea.
Yeah. And then Trevor Zebra said, Verbeek has mentioned the bottom 6 needing to be better and how he may add another veteran this offseason. Do you think Corey Perry could be a potential target? I don't think that fits what his mold for a bottom, a 4th line is.
Doesn't it? I mean, he can add a little bit of offense.
No, but I don't think it's necessarily about the offense. He wants guys... Well, he wants production, but he also has mentioned he wants guys that have more speed and can get in on the forecheck better, and that's not what Corey Perry's game is anymore.
I mean, was it ever that?
Fair, but he does not fit that mold of what Verbeek, I think, is looking for the 4th line.
I mean, it kind of also just depends, like, is Corey Perry going to still be playing hockey next season? It just feels like it's a year-to-year basis with him right now.
Yep. And then he also said, if the Ducks select a center, Lindstrom or Celebrini, who would be most likely to play right wing, Zegras, McTavish, or Gauthier?
I'm going to say McTavish because I feel like that one-timer threat, because Gauthier is probably going to be on the left as a Zegras. So let's go McTavish on the right. Get that one-timer shot going. All
right. And so now we're going to go to Twitch and YouTube. So for those of you listening to this on your favorite podcast services, you can find us at twitch.tv/crashbond, where if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Twitch Prime gaming sub each and every month, and it does help out more than you can imagine. So you can be just like, we had a bunch of subs today. Our good friend Lou, who resubbed for the 66th month. We're getting close to a very nice month. So thank you. It's a Crashing Pond podcast. Fantastic. And Ducks Jaggernaut, who subbed for his 18th month, and Dr. Bagelstein, who subbed for the first time. So thank you all so much for doing that. Or if you can, if you don't want to find us on Twitch, you can find us on YouTube. And yes, I know everyone listening to this has a YouTube account. Go to youtube.com/crashpond, where you can like our videos, subscribe to the channel, do everything there that can help us out immensely. Let's do a little like spike right now. So please spike those likes for us. Like the video. It does help out a bunch. So we're going to get some questions. So let's see. Ludwig Smith in our YouTube chat said, what do you guys think would be able to get us an HS in a trade realistically, since you've mentioned it?
A 1st round pick, Vetrano, and a prospect.
Name the prospect.
How about Jackson Lacombe?
Okay.
A lightly used Jackson Lacombe.
Okay. Let's see. Muhammad Zegras said, question, should we buy low on Alex Nylander as a free agent this offseason? Former top 10 pick with 8 goals in 11 games. Low risk, sign him to a 1 year, $1 million, less than $1 million deal. Worst case, you waive him.
Sure, but like this is also the absolute peak of his NHL career so far.
Yeah.
So I'm not really I mean, I haven't watched a second of what he's done, so maybe I should be a little more kind, but I'm not really going to buy on like an 11 game sample or whatever, but good for him. Good for him. He's been traded like more times than I can count. So
yep. Winterborn said, most underrated foods. He said he'll go first. A well-made meatloaf.
Yeah, meatloaf is a good one. I feel like meatloaf...
I'm not a big meatloaf guy.
Yeah, well, you don't like eggs, so we question you. Most underrated. I don't know. Oh, that's an easy one. Chicken liver. Chicken liver, people hate it so much. People gag just seeing it. And yet, well cooked, well seasoned, it's one of the most tender, flavorful pieces of meat you can eat, animal product you can eat. And it's also packed with nutrients, very good for you. There's really just no reason not to eat it except for just dumb old narrative. So yes, it is actually indeed the most underrated. I can't do beef liver though. Beef liver is like just another level.
I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know if any of the stuff I eat is underrated. I don't know if I could say anything's
You
underrated.
also go no tomatoes at In-N-Out.
Yeah. So
just outing all your like poor food stances.
I mean, I don't think it's that poor, but it is what it is. Go off, King.
Can't have a burger without a tomato.
Danielle Me said, "Who do you think our top 2 D are next year?"
Top pairing. Oh, I mean, it should be Gudis and Minchikov.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mighty Maniac said, "Should the Ducks target a low-risk right-hand shot defenseman, or will Luno be full-time?" I mean, it sounds like Pav Verbeek has Tristan Luno on the Ducks next year.
Yeah.
Whether we agree with that or not is kind of irrelevant. That sounds like where it's going. Yep. Banana Blasters, I'll just kind of say this, had a hot take saying Zegras will be traded by the end of his current contract. Book it.
It's possible.
It's certainly possible. I don't know if it's likely. It's definitely a bold take, though.
It's a bold take. It could age very well. It could also age very poorly. I hope you're completely wrong because the Ducks are more fun with Trevor Zegras on the team.
Agreed.
And I value being entertained. But yeah, it's not something that we should just like shoot down. It could certainly happen, but who knows?
Yep. Let's see. Danielle Me said, "What do you think of Dosto getting more playing time?"
Well, I don't know. Like, I feel like I've lost track of like goalie injuries this season. I don't know how much of it has been Gibson being like under the weather or hurt, but it also just seems like they are giving him more games,
especially down this little stretch here.
Which I mean makes sense. Like, give him as much ice time as possible. Give him the net. Let him keep developing. I love it personally. Like, if that's actually what they're doing and it's not just like a product of circumstance, then I absolutely love it.
Yep. All right. Let's go to shit show questions. So I'm trying to remember when the last
also Connor is suggesting Matt Roy as that right-handed shot defenseman. I guess I'm just like, he would help the team, but his numbers are not anything crazy. And I haven't watched a ton of him, but like, not a guy who necessarily moves me for the Ducks.
This is from our good friend D-Rock saying, "For Felix, say one nice thing about the city of Funafuti." I don't know what this is.
Oh, you missed that.
I did.
I've never been. If I ever go one day, that would be crazy, but I have nothing bad to say about it. It's just, it resulted in a bad night for me.
Okay. Once. These are shit show questions, to be clear for everyone. Okay. Let's see. Ducks Dragonet said, rank fast food chicken places. I mean, I can only think of 2 right now.
Can we say that they're just all bad?
Popeyes is solid.
I've never had Popeyes.
Actually, I'll go Cane's 1, Popeyes 2, Chick-fil-A 3.
What about KFC?
KFC is not on my list.
I just think they're all bad. Like, especially Cane's, because it's just chicken fingers.
Cane's is good, though.
People are getting in line for freaking chicken fingers.
Oh, I would never wait in line, but their drive-thru by me never has a line.
Yeah, I just think that you could just go to In-N-Out. You could do better things with your time.
Bring 'em home Drumbanger said, what is LA Lou's signature wrestling move? What about his signature wrestling line? His wrestling move would be just a headlock takeover. Old school Lou, just going headlock takeover, keeping it simple. That would be his signature wrestling move. His signature wrestling line would be moo.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Max Jones, Truther, said, start bench cut, pizza, burgers, pasta.
Whew. Man, that is tough.
I'll start pizza, bench burgers, cut pasta.
Yeah, I'm cutting pizza immediately.
Wow.
and then start pasta and bench burgers. Yeah. Pizza's good, but like I could never eat pizza again and be completely fine. It would not change my life at all.
I disagree.
Also, burgers are more versatile, they're better. Like I'm not cutting that. And then pasta, like you can actually have healthy pasta.
Fair. If we're going like health, sure, fine.
Well, yeah, health matters to me with food. And on top of taste, which pasta, you can do both. You can have less healthy pasta, more healthy pasta.
Duck's Dragonaut with a good pull. Are we as a society, as a collective society, sleeping on El Pollo Loco when discussing chicken places?
Yeah, we're sleeping because it's bad.
No, it's not.
There's no reason to wake up.
El Pollo Loco is solid. Mohammed Zegras has an actual hockey question saying, who leads the Ducks in goals and who leads in points next season?
Who leads the Ducks in goals?
I'll go Troy Terry in goals, Leo Carlson in points.
I'm going Trevor Zegras in points.
Okay.
Yep. That's
all right.
That's my take.
Back to shit show questions. First place Dajan says, "Give me your best moo." That's all.
Yeah. Also, I'm keeping burgers because I want them as my like fun treat, and to me that is more enjoyable than pizza.
Pizza's delicious. You're
pizza
very much
people
downplaying.
Get so like hurty feelies when you say that pizza's not that great.
Pizza's like, great.
It's like, just if it's so great, then just be confident and let it rub off your back.
It's great.
Roll off your back.
Isaac says snake draft 3 rounds, hamburger toppings only, or hamburger toppings only, meat and buns are included already. So I get
we don't have time for a full on snake draft.
No, but just 3 rounds. All right, I'll go cheese.
I will go. Well, I don't need to worry about tomatoes because you don't put tomatoes. Oh man, cheese is kind of a rough one.
I know. I got a good one there.
I don't know. Lettuce.
Okay. Grilled onions.
Okay. Do you like mushrooms?
No.
Man, what do you like? Do you like mushrooms?
This is supposed to be. You only get 3 rounds, so
do you like avocado?
No, pick what you want.
Wait, do you like avocado?
We're only doing 3
Answer
rounds.
The
so
question.
I don't.
Oh my god.
You have 2 more picks.
That's horrific. But I'm going avocado.
Okay, and then I will go burger sauce, like Thousand Island spread, that type of stuff.
That's too broad of a category, but okay.
Spread, Thousand Island, whatever you want to do.
Too broad.
So
there's so many different sauces. I will go mushrooms.
Yeah. Duck's Dragonaut saying, yeah, my burger already wins with cheese and onions.
Well, yeah. I mean, you cheated. Also, I feel like picking all cheese is just overbroad. You shouldn't be able to rule out like.
Hey, they only said meat and buns are included. So, you know, we have an actual question again from Mohammed Zegras saying, does Felix think Cutter isn't that good? Can't get a full read of his opinion on Felix.
I don't think Cutter is that good, but I also think he's perfect for what the Ducks need. Like, I think he's a bit overrated as a prospect, but I also think that his particular skill set is going to have its highest chance of like hitting its potential with the Ducks. Hopefully that, and like, he's a good player. He's not as good as I think people are making him out to be, but also he will shine on the Ducks because he will be in the perfect spot.
Peasant Ass Louis said, if you could have one type of pizza for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
None. No need.
Man.
Actually, cauliflower crust. Healthy. Low carb.
I would probably go with some sort of pizza that's like cheese and has ricotta cheese on it. Just really good. I had a great pizza last week. A great Detroit pizza from Lunitas. I got their margarita. Oh, it was so good.
Give me cauliflower crust.
Logic King Plant Rich said, what is the best hockey name of all time?
Best hockey name of all time? I don't know. There's so many. Radek Bonk. I feel like Radek Bonk is probably the best.
What is it? Dick Clapper?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the whole like 1920s or like early 20th century names are just like another tier of just insanity. But I will go with Radek Bonk.
Do we do the city or do we? We're at hour 15. We'll save this. We'll do this next time. We'll do it in summer.
What are we doing?
Vyacheslav Budiyets believer. He said Hazel Ridge, Manitoba.
No, we don't have time for that.
We don't have time for that. We'll do it next time. Second overall, Shill said, today's fun fact, an anagram for the name Jake Rudolph is Rad Hulk Joe. An anagram for Felix Sicard is Field Circus X. And to add, an anagram for Crash the Pond is Hot Card Hens.
It all makes sense.
Logic King Plantward said, is there any hope for Anaheim sports?
I can't tell you anything about the Angels.
It's
except
sad
that Shohei Ohtani is no longer plays for them.
Blake Snell is not an Angel. It's sad. OG Leo Carlson Truther said, why does Felix now think Jacob Perreault is a better prospect than Cutter Gauthier?
Did I think that? Did I say that?
This is in shit show, to be fair.
Yeah, that's I don't think that for the record, but also hateful.
Give 19 the Seat Drumbanger said, would you rather eat McDonald's or Taco Bell for every meal for a month straight? Oh, easy McDonald's.
Oh my god, that's such a brutal, like that would be the worst month of my life.
McDonald's, easy.
I would just feel like utter crap all the time.
McDonald's has more variety.
Yeah, I think it's McDonald's.
And then the final one, and then we're done here. Bring him home, Drumbanger said, what is Felix's wrestling character? Is he a heel or a babyface? You are 100% a heel.
Damn, disrespectful.
Do you not want to play a heel persona?
Disrespectful.
I feel like you would have way more fun as a heel.
Probably.
You would just live that up.
Yeah, get me on the AEW scene.
Yeah, there you go.
Get me a contract.
You could show up and rock the pond.
Oh, just nothing worse than making a burner to call other people out and then being wrong about it and then going to private.
Okay. Let's get on out of here.
Rock the pond. On that note, thank you for listening, everyone. We really appreciate you guys. If you want to help support the show, there's a very easy way to do that. Go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/crashthepond. $2 a month, you get access to our patrons-only Discord server. We mention it all the time on the podcast because it's the best. It's a community of diehard Ducks fans. We have a great time there. We have a lot of laughs. We have a pub chat, which basically means we do like a voice chat during games, which is also really fun. So be heard, become the voice of the Ducks within our Discord at patreon.com/crashthepond. And then also for $7.50 a month, you get access to 2 bonus podcasts on top of the Discord server, plus 2 bonus player breakdown videos. You can also leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us on Spotify. Leave us feedback there. We really do appreciate and value your feedback. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like the videos. Do everything you got to do. Helps out a ton. Check out our website, crashthepond.com. We've got lots of goodies in the shop. Stickers, coffee mugs, T-shirts. Anaheim Vibes HC still going.
Yep.
Believe it or not. Find us on Twitter. And on that note, we will talk to you next week. Have a good one, folks.
Bye.